Then he felt a sudden warmth in his stomach, felt something fleck from his lips. He dragged in a ragged breath and looked down, seeing the knife slither out of the folds of his coat. Something splashed onto the toes of his shoes, shimmering black in the twilight. He swayed, staggered, and then fell backwards. His fingers clutched at his stomach, the pain coming now in great waves. He felt tears on his cheek as he craned his head backwards, searching for her, knowing that he was about to watch the woman he loved die. Except the platform was empty. Heavy boots moved around his head and then down the catwalk. They paused at the rail as the attacker looked over, searching the empty space below, finding nothing except a concertina of whitecaps. She must have jumped. There was nowhere else to go. The man stared up at the figure above him and watched as its gaze lifted to the hook swinging from the crane above. He felt the tears warm on his face then, watching as the figure walked back towards him, the knife rising slowly at its side. Chapter 2. It was the first time Jamie had seriously grappled with the idea of Anders Wiik dying. As she watched his face turn red, the veins in his neck bulge, and his chest heave, she wondered if he was about to collapse then and there. Detective Inspector Jamie Johansson eased off her pace and slowed to a stop. She glanced down at her watch, seeing her heart rate holding at a steady 125, and then brushed the errant strand of ash-blonde hair off her forehead, shaking out her long plait as she caught her breath. Behind her, Kriminalinspektör Anders Wiik of Stockholm Polis stumbled to a halt and bent forwards, hands on knees, panting and wheezing. She thought saying that there were just another 4 kilometres to go wasn't going to help things, especially since they'd only done one so far. "Are you okay?" she asked, looking around. "Are you okay?" The streets of Stockholm were quiet, the sun not long up. Rush hour wouldn't kick in for another hour or so yet. He nodded quickly, but Jamie knew he wasn't. If he tried to speak, he'd probably empty his stomach all over the pavement. "Well, you asked for it," she felt like saying, though she doubted that would help either. She didn't think he'd make another bet with her anytime soon, especially not one that involved shooting. Julia Hallberg, Wiik's, and now she guessed hers as well, polisassistent, had told him that Jamie was a good shot, but she figured male bravado got the better of even men like Wiik every now and then. Jamie hadn't been excited to make it a competition, and if anything, she was getting more than a little tired of Hallberg fawning over her to Wiik. But the girl meant well. No, the woman. Hallberg wasn't that much younger than her. Damn, why couldn't she shake that habit? She hated that she felt closer to Wiik's age than Hallberg's, despite him being more than 10 years her senior. He was nearly 50, and though he looked good for it, he couldn't run for shit. "Ready?" Jamie asked, taking a step closer to him. She watched as her heart rate fell with every passing second. "1 second," he choked out, finally pulling himself upright. Wiik was nearly a head taller than Jamie, with a strong, square jaw and nose, and perfectly groomed, slicked-back hair. Though it looked a little bedraggled now, his clean-shaven cheeks red and blotchy. "Am I really meant to believe you do this for fun?" he asked in Swedish. "Lick off," Jamie laughed. "Leave off." "Come on," she continued, turning and kicking out her toes to loosen her quads. She was glad Wiik had overestimated his skill with a pistol, or she'd have been forced to choke down a burger that he'd described as a heart attack in a bun. He'd been going on about the place since she'd officially started her loan from the London Met and couldn't understand how she didn't eat food like that. She couldn't understand how he could. Supposedly, he wanted to take her out for a welcome to the city burger. She'd asked if a welcome to the city salad was on the table. Apparently, it was not. "Wiik?" she asked, turning back to see if he'd finally mustered the strength to go on. But he wasn't looking at her. He was staring down at his phone.